Hi, everybody. We are setting up the Glastonbury Women's Collective, and I'm here with Eartha Love and Hannah Graceful Dawn. And I'm just so excited and overjoyed that these beautiful beings have stepped forward and have come to share their experience with us as shamancas practicing decades of traditional ancient medicine that's helping to reclaim the soul and heal the heart and clear from the heart of source, calling forth Divine Mother, Divine Father, each of own individual I am presences, Sanat Kumara, Adonis, Helios, our ancestors, beloved shamancas and shamanic beings, guardians and guides supporting us on this journey, ancestral lineages, starseed lineages, stepping down universal Christ consciousness, Cathara grid, rising up, beautiful Kundalini Shakti. Lord, may any energies out of alignment be now cancelled, cleared, deleted, sent back to source. Any disruptions cleared and removed. May all energies be in alignment to divine will, divine love, divine grace. The highest good and the highest service of all beings, all life, all creation, now and always.
Blessed be.
Aurora's coming through. See, oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you,
And I'd
love.
love to hear a little bit from Hannah. Eartha, please, do introduce yourselves, share a bit about your experience.
I'll go first then. Yeah. So I'm Hannah, and I've known Nellie for a while now. She's part of our community in Glastonbury, and I have brought the Map of Womanhood. Myself and Eartha used to run mother-daughter mentorship camps in Glastonbury around the Map of Womanhood back in probably 2019. 2018, we did it for a few years, where we created a micro village around women learning the map of womanhood and also having time with their daughter in the woodlands. So the women would create a micro village, and one of us would be with the women, one of us would be with the girls, and they'd have a whole weekend of um, immersion into as much as we could, understanding of rites of passage and how we can hold each other in that and hold our girls. And so the girls had a lot of nature immersion time, and the women would go into the map of womanhood, and then we'd share with the girls as a village. So the reason why it was designed that way in Avalon is because, as Eartha will share in a bit, she has many templates from different communities. Every community is different, but Avalon, it was so hard to get a committed village at the time because it's such a transient place, compared to other villages where they were gathering around Steiner schools and already established ways of bringing children up. And so it was a natural progression for the women of that village to want to understand the growth of a child, and then that made them look at themselves and the thresholds they never had. So yeah, going back to Avalon, I was really passionate and Eartha about bringing it to where I was living, where I'm committed to my belonging. But it wasn't really working the same way. So that's when we came up with these unique camps around mentorship over a weekend, a micro village. And still then they came from everywhere else. They were like pilgrims to Avalon rather than the women that were actually in the village. Rebecca was part of one, and Alora James. Rebecca went on to have a vision of Mama Village, which is now really successful. She received that within our Healing the Maiden, Restoring Elderhood retreats that we used to run here, which was similar but without the girls. And Alora received as well and has gone on to Portugal to establish her birthing sanctuary and will be bringing Mama Village into that. So, yeah, we did what we could, and we held a few retreats about restoring elderhood through Healing the Maiden, and that was really successful in Avalon for a while. So, yeah, meeting Nellie now and having these sessions with her around the map of womanhood and the heart and the soul has been inspiring again for me, and feeling what could really be possible for our community and all that Nellie's holding. And I'm so happy to support it, Nellie, in any way I can, because I love our village, and it can be hectic and it can be transient, but there's there's a lot of women rooting down here now, and I feel the women's collective that you're creating is really part of that, trying to root down and create something for the next 7 generations. So yeah, really honoring what you've brought forth, and I'm here and honoring my beautiful twin sister Eartha that's been devoted to this for so long, and her wisdom. So I'll let her speak now.
Hi everyone, I'm Eartha, obviously Hannah's twin. So yeah, I'm speaking to you as a community that I don't actually live in. I have spent a lot of time in Glastonbury with Hannah, and also lived there on and off in my lorry with my girls when we were all younger. So what I want to speak to is the incredible work that Nellie's talked to me about, that she's envisioning, and her collective, and my experience of working with communities all over the world that are following the program that I developed around the map of womanhood and soul mending. I call it Mending the Soul of the Village. And so Hannah and I have explored a little bit of like she said, in Glastonbury, but I've had really different experiences elsewhere where women have worked continuously around the map. And so it's been developed over 10 years. And what it holds is um, the sort of blueprint, the original blueprint for how to create a strong container in your community that allows us to, or you, to co-create rites of passage ceremonies for each other. So the reason why rites of passage is so important to cultural regeneration is because without rites of passage, we are actually fragmented inside of ourselves, and also as a community and as a sisterhood. And so when we're doing spiritual work, when we're doing work with the soul or with the light, part of the issue that we have is that we don't understand what rites of passage is in regard to the awakening of the soul and the awakening of our ability to really be all that we are in the world. That's not an isolated experience, not just me, Eartha. It's all of our souls together as one, as a as the truthful reality of what our radiance truly is. So I'm going to speak to it because Hannah, obviously, she does, you must know, does a lot of work with the Magdalena and the holy oils. And to speak to that work that's very strong in Glastonbury and Avalon is that, we can't really open our hearts to being the Magdalena, to being the rose, and also to our own radiance if we haven't made it through the death and rebirth thresholds inside of ourselves around our own evolution. And our evolution is our journey, our sacred journey as women, our sacred hormonal journey that is the spiritual quest to who we're becoming, to who we truly are, and the evolution of our soul. So the journey of our bodies as women through adolescence, through mothering, through menopause, through elderhood and through death is all part of the same journey of the awakening of our soul and our radiance. So we can't have one without the other. So how we create a strong container as a collective is we realize that it's an illusion and an untruth to feel like we're alone in our journey. We can't get there without each other. It doesn't work when we get to heaven. So this work of the building the strong container is for everything. It's for even holding us together in our deaths when we finally have to leave our bodies. It's still the same work. We have to have the strong container of the village around us to even die in the way that's necessary for spiritual evolution and for ourselves. And so we can't, that is what heaven is. So it starts with this incredible body that we've been given by God to be able to walk this path as a walking prayer. So that's what the journey of the Map of Womanhood is the journey of the sacred evolution of our being through our hormones. So I have done a lot of this work with Hannah and in other ways, and I've found the pitfalls where we cannot really be in harmony with each other as a oneness, as a ecosystem of brothers and sisters, because we're fragmented, because of the rites of passage, death thresholds that we move through unconsciously. We're going through them anyway. Our body's doing it anyway. We just need to have the ceremonies that allow us to keep up with what our body's doing and to keep waking up and expanding and expanding and expanding out of the contractions. So that's what we're doing.
I love this so much. Thank you both for sharing your experience and everything that's being weaved together. And exactly that, the need for the community in order to mirror and reflect back to oneself, and in order for each of us to come to our authenticity and from our authenticity share with one another. As like it says, no man is an island. We cannot exist by ourselves, and that need and interdependence is just so inherent. And what's interesting also about the community that I find is that it's much bigger than we think, which is what you brought here, like your work and the vision and what's possible is so much bigger than we've even visioned into or have been able to put into practice much on earth at all. It's really big, and even if we can have a part of it or start somewhere on it, that would be quite an achievement. And from what I've seen, a community, sometimes people go into communities with this almost expectation or naivety or something. Yeah, community, we're all together, it's all bliss, it's all love and light, it's amazing, isn't it? Like, here we go. And once this tiny bit of time passes, you will see every single trauma reflected and recreated. That's just what the community does. So I want to say this and bring it forward in order to clear this misconception that it's all love and light without somebody actually creating the love and light. It actually has to be created because no one's created it yet. And so for me, the way to create it is to go back to these roots and to go and pick up that inner child and the little girl and the teenager, the maiden. Exactly, because in our culture, there is nothing that supports these points of growth where the hormonal surge comes in and one is in between two identities, the old identity of what's going to be left behind and the new identity that's much bigger and much bolder. And so there is nothing that really acknowledges it or explains it and deals with it. So we step forward into the new identity without fully honoring it, without fully acknowledging, without fully having our power. And I'm talking about all aspects of our power, our sexuality, our heart, our divinity, the wisdom of choice, because the feminine holds that power of choice to receive or not to receive, to allow or not to allow, to accept or not to accept. And so often these things are not even taught. So we're having women as adults not knowing what the needs are, not knowing how to say no, not knowing what to allow, what not to allow, what to receive, what not to receive, how to express when one is feeling hurt without causing an awful lot of hurt, without shooting people down with words, but also still being able to express when the hurt is being felt or being caused. And so this is the vulnerability that a community really is. And it does take courage. It cannot be created or built without courage, being able to step into interactions and relating with women and with people with the full knowledge and understanding that all of the traumas of the feminine will be resurfacing. They'll be replaying themselves out in order for them to clear. So you have the mistrust, we have the betrayal, the unworthiness, the insecurities. Where do I start and you begin? The boundary. What is mine, what's not? How much can I ask for or not? Am I needy? Am I too needy? Am I not needy enough? Worth and neediness, all of it. So everything just resurfaces. And by us talking about it, we're really stepping into this openness to talk and openness to look at these things as they arise with love, with full love for this inner child who was never really given a rites of passage, who was never really held and taught this is how the feminine energy goes. And especially the way the sexual energy is in the society, it's either completely unconscious and overused or abused, ashamed and suppressed. So even for that, there's hardly a model for something where one is intimately and open and present with one's own sexual energy and channels it much higher for oneself without um, losing any of it or spilling any of it, without kind of giving it away. Yeah, I think that's the word I'm looking for, without giving it away. So these circles and meetings are here, yeah, sharing this for the women to repair this, to repair any damage that's been done and any distortion that's been done in order to come back and reclaim the individual self. And as the individual self is strong and clear and grounded and confident, peaceful in oneself, it is no longer triggered as much by what somebody else is doing in the community. It's no longer having those needs that were not met, the need of the child and the teenage and so on that weren't met, that are then being projected on the other community members. So one is able to identify and meet those needs from within, at the same time be able to really rely and be vulnerable and rely on others to hold them, knowing that there is trust, because there is a foundation for trust to be built, because it's talked about what is to be trusted and what's not to be trusted, and so on. So through these conversations, and of course having the practice that's been developed and already by yourselves, it's been anchored in various communities. And what really inspired me is that it's been so successful and sustainable. And this is what I'm looking for, because I think that's the hardest thing for a practice to be really anchored and have become successful and sustainable. That's what really inspires me. Yeah. You muted Eartha if you wanted to say something.
Yeah, just everything that you're saying, the immature sexual energy comes from, the parts of it that are still stuck in child. We have no idea. People have no idea what happens during our adolescent years through the rites of passage we move through unconsciously is everything. The building of the sense of self, the awakening to our sacred sexuality, the ability to have boundaries. It's all determined through those years, and it's a deep spiritual quest. And we're supposed to make that spiritual quest before we get our body becomes an adult body and the brain sets itself as an adult brain. So it's not because we are not, it's not because some of us have experienced trauma and all of that. It's just how we've developed as women is parts of us stuck still in teenager, still in child, still in baby, and we're acting it out all of the time because we've never made it through. And it's like, yeah, you could have had a really beautiful upbringing, but still there's that contraction inside of you with an immature sexual energy. And if you look at Clarissa Pinkola Estes' book Women That Run with the Wolves, she says girls will only have a tuft of their sealskin left by the time they reach 18. When what she's saying is that we've given away our sense of self, we've had it stolen, we've fragmented in our sense of self. So by the time we get to 18, we've only got a tiny fragment of who we truly are present, making the choices that we need to make choice for our lives. So all of us need to do the work of growing up on the inner, and it's like that takes devotion to yourself. It's an act of devotion to yourself. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful journey, isn't it, Hannah? It's like it's an incredibly powerful journey of the heart.
Yeah, I think as well the way that it's designed within Eartha's Map of Womanhood school, it's work on yourself, like we've said, but your maturity is still kind of affected by the maturity of the village as well. So what's beautiful is that you get to be with your other sisters' girls in the circle because you feel the girls in the circle. They're there. They want to come home, and then you can be with your sisters as their girls come home, and then you start to see like what would a young girl growing up in a pristine culture have seen and witnessed. Like there's some kind of insight into that by being together around this, which helps the maturity to become cultural. And that's why Earth has designed it this way, because you're still coming up against the limitations of your village unless we all have moments in the village together where we are bringing ourselves home together. And it really is the next part of the missing piece. It's like doing it together. Yeah, and it is really beautiful. I haven't been in a circle for a while doing this either because of my own life taking off on another way with the holy oils. But yeah, to create that temple as well, because I know I'm working with, being in Avalon specifically, many people I'm working with, women and pilgrims and community sisters, are trying to come back into the temple together. That feels like the next bit with their sacred sexuality. And never mind coming back into the village together, they're trying to get back into the temple together. And it's like, okay, so we keep pushing each other out the temple because of unrealized aspects, and also unconscious fears around that need to come home as well. And not having any elders to hold them. So even if we don't have elders in the circle, there's an elderhood that comes in. I mean, me and Eartha are getting there physically, but there's an elderhood vibration that comes in through the way she's designed the school. Even if we don't get the honor, because we were mentored by the Indigenous grandmothers, it's kind of within the tapestry of the format of the school. So yeah, that all helps us to drop into like the cultural regeneration.
I love this so much. Thank you so much. And what's coming up is exactly how in the collective at the moment, so many beings are feeling the need for community and the call for a community, and the future communities that will be blossoming on Earth more and more. We all know it, I'm sure, of people who own land or looking for land exactly with these visions and projects. I know Eartha has been doing it already, and so are other beings. So this is starting to sow the seeds and bring down to Earth these visions and make them into reality. As I've also heard of communities breaking down in the past, they get set up and then a few years down the line they fall apart because there isn't that central pillar of it's the identity of who we are, from the old misplaced identity into the correct alignment of the life force, the individual life force, where one has reclaimed exactly those parts that are still stuck in teenage years or childhood years, or some other needs are not met. And so the importance for those to come back home in order for us to be able to have a community with each other and weave together. And I loved when I had a strong call to go and see Hannah for sessions, and I loved exactly experiencing all these parts of me that just came back home. And it was with such ease and grace, and at the same time with such power and like absolute blowing away power of all these parts that I wouldn't have known otherwise. I wouldn't have known what was gone and what was missing and where it'd been. There's no way of knowing except actually going into check really consciously. And it starts to put one together more gracefully in a very, very beautiful way. And as the sexual energy was mentioned, again, there's no template. So it's part of the map of womanhood. It's part of the weaving in order for us to come back to it, in order to come to that, the fullness where we're not giving away our power. It's not needing, it's not seeking, it's not creating any cords or attachments, and it's not giving power away, as there's such a pattern, I guess, in the feminine, to be giving or overgiving power away and not minding one's own care or energy, one's own wholeness, and alignment of what is aligned and what's not aligned. And for me, really, the map of womanhood has been really the template. This is the template for the feminine that's never been given to us, really. And so initially, when I heard map of womanhood, I thought it was just so much mind. I was like, map, I don't need a map. I'm a woman already. And so I had already worked with Shakti energy and sexual energies and all sorts of energies, and I've loved it. There was already some degree of integration, but even that didn't have the soul parts and the soul fragments back to me until they were called. Till we really went to call them and pick them and take them home and understand fully how that happens. And it's it's so beautiful to understand that everybody has got that, and this is something that one needs not be shy about or afraid of. Hence the community, we can break through this separation of me and my own path and my own journey, and it's my own, but it's also our own. And whenever I've sat in women's circles and a woman shares, I could think to myself, that could have been me who said that. That's totally me. I've had the same experience or the same trauma, the same pain point. And in the understanding that we all share these same wounds, the love that flows helps to repair them, the love that starts to come through. It's just so bonding and so beautiful. And it's how we create the safety and the trust and the community in a way that, becomes really sustainable. And I'm so happy that we have this. I just wanted to ask Eartha, you mentioned also about the map of manhood, and I found that really, really interesting for those of us who have boys, like I do.
Yeah, so I'm working with the map of manhood at the moment with my beloved Jason, because I started working with it to map it. The reason why they're called maps is because we're mapping them together, not because we have a finished map that women need to know. It's a mapping of something ancient but something new together. So I haven't had a chance to map the map of manhood with the men. My beloved Steve was doing that, but then he passed over 5 years ago, and now beloved Jason has picked it up to start mapping it with the men. So the map of manhood is something looking at that journey for the man of where the fragmentation lies from their journey to manhood, from boy to man, and what might have occurred there with the sacred journey of testosterone and fragmentation and distortion and suppression and all of those things. So the reclamation of the sacred masculine masculine within through looking at the map and mapping what would it look like to be bringing our sons up as the sacred masculine that they are, and allowing the hormonal journey of the sun to be the journey to the inner son of the sacred masculine. You know, Hannah's got a son as well. I haven't had a son. So that's obviously something that, you know, we're working with together, but we need the men. It's very rare that I get to sit with the brothers with this. I've had about 30 brothers that have sat with me deeply with it, and they've got very emotional and very it's been very emotional for them to receive it from a woman, from me, and for them to have their voices added to it, because it requires the heart, you know, to be there. And so they've really loved it, you know. So yeah, we're doing a Zoom online course around it starting on the 18th of March, so some brothers can join us. But yeah, Hannah also has her son. I don't know if you want to say something, Hannah, because I don't have.
Yeah, so Hari is 14 in April, and with the Map of Womanhood, it's a bit like a journey of the river, the holy river we call it. That's an ebb and a flow with the cycle that takes you across the ocean of awakening to your understanding of your sense of self and who you are in this world, as a Shakti flow, as a flow of life, and sexual energy is really part of it. What I've been getting for Hari is it's more a journey up the sacred mountain to meet with his heart in relationship to the beloved son. This is the mythology that's coming through for me, is especially from like now with the sacred sexuality coming in, that yeah, his sacred seeds are connecting with his heart in a way. Yeah, I could go into more detail, but it's almost like, you know, the prayer of the phallus to the heart in the other rooms. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of get excited for him when I see where he's at now, because he's deepening his voice. His heart is so beautiful and so loving, and yeah, he holds himself really well. He really is now. He's been through a lot, and yeah, just feeling that journey up the sacred mountain. That's what I'm feeling. Whereas within the Map of Womanhood, we kind of feel it as a holy river that's flowing throughout the sisterhood. So maybe it's more of a solo journey for the man. I don't know. But maybe I'll join you, Eartha, on the. Can the women come to the Map of Manhood if they've got sons?
On the Zoom, yeah. On the Zoom course, I'm weaving the Map of Womanhood with the Map of Manhood for the purpose of healing divine union within and without. So that's what the Zoom course is. I'm doing in-person Map of Manhood with Jason, and that is in Devon. So it's only open to the men so that they can be vulnerable. I'll be the only woman there supporting Jason to work with it. But with the Zoom, the purpose of the Zoom is that women come and men come, so we can start looking at the map from the place of the sacred masculine, sacred feminine together, and how it's an ecosystem that's working in complete harmony when it's allowed to be all that it is, you know, the ecosystem of brothers and sisters. And how do we get there as a village, but also as the sacred temple, you know, of masculine and feminine. Why are we here? Why is there man? Why is there woman? When you take it up to the level of the soul, and how that oneness is united with those two energies. So we're looking at the masculine forces in nature as well as the feminine forces in nature, and the sacred journey of that divine union that's within us, within all of us. That's that one, yeah. But yeah, I'm at the moment, it's mostly women that's coming. I could do with some men, some brothers coming on.
That's the other feeling I have for our community, Nellie, is that I'm doing a lot of work around women actually healing their own inner masculine now.
Mm-hmm.
on it with the phallus, our own inner phallus and fire. I feel like we could hold that for our community of the women, especially the women that have got sons that are gathering the knowledge within themselves to meet their sons. That's what I've had to do to start meeting Hari, because there is no men around him at all. Like, I'm having to, I think that's the journey that I'm on at the moment, which feels like it's completing of my own inner love for the masculine, and then not projecting onto him from past relationships or the men that I've had around me so far. Because he is the new in our family. Like, it's amazing to watch him. So we could design something around that, maybe within our community as well, for women that have got the
Sounds beautiful. Yeah, sounds beautiful, really healing the inner masculine for the feminine, and also for those of us who do have sons. That's
Yeah.
so beautiful. All that's been shared. All that's been shared. Thank you so much. I absolutely love this. And that it's coming, I guess, from my perspective, having the little children and seeing the children born in our community, into our community at the moment, at present times, the energies are so clear. The masculine energy is so clear, and it knows who I am, what I'm here to do, how I'm going to do it, knows everything. It just wants to not be distorted, really. Hence, these times are coming when we are also stepping into healing the old patriarchy and the ones of that. Anything that's been caused, so that the new children can anchor their own vibration and energy, be their own true authentic self, empowered without being disempowered, as I find the current society is just very disempowering to the masculine. As my 4-year-old wants to be, he wants to lead everything as much as possible all the time, and so that's the journey I'm on, just letting him lead and create as many opportunities, because that's his energy, which is in complete opposite of the way we treat children in our society.
Yeah, so that, Nellie, that's speaking to that as well. It's like we can't be more on the outside than what we've got on the inner. So with our parenting, it's informed by our own journey as well. And all of us that have healed ourselves and have been doing the work so that we can bring our children up in a new way, we still have to allow, when they start getting older, the that journey to manhood or to womanhood in our children, in our daughters and our sons, is informed by our own initiation. So we're a culture of uninitiated people trying to initiate youth, and there's a crisis in our I would speak to that. So the younger sisters who have small boys now, I'm speaking to you in this village. There is a crisis amongst the boys, amongst the men, the young men, right? That starts with this journey of not being initiated, and that it's a whole other journey for the man. How the boy becomes man is even more precarious than how the girl becomes woman, because we have our blood. This is what the map of womanhood is about. But when you look at the map of manhood, it's even more precarious, it's even more fragmented on a lot of levels, that I can see is causing the crisis amongst the young men that's happening. Hannah's son is doing amazing. There's other boys his age and older who are in crisis. I am holding ceremony for suicide amongst young men, holding ceremonies for these deaths that are happening, with the communities. And the men, the young boys, they need to understand what initiation and rites of passage is, even if we can't give it to them, because we can't give rites of passage ceremonies if we haven't looked at it inside of ourselves. You actually make more of a mess. You'll actually damage it even more if you try to initiate without being initiated. And you can see that in the spiritual communities. It's the false light. And so, yeah, when I speak to women who've got young boys, it's like it's more than ever to do the recovery on yourself, so that you can at least start to, like, that's what Hannah's done with Hari. She's recovered enough of herself to be able to hold Hari, because he doesn't have the culture to hold him, and that's fragmented. But it's better than not looking at inside of yourself first, because people have no idea what's coming when their teenagers come. They're like, oh, and I'm like, you wait and see how much your boy and your girl is going to change. It's like, and it's like, get ready, get yourselves ready.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I love that this is here already, like knowing what to do.
Yeah.
Like you have figured out and you're putting it out to the world that like this is what you're gonna do when you encounter these situations that are completely different and shocking and overwhelming. Don't get stuck. This is something that's been figured out what to do. I just love this. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much. That's beautiful. And you're also holding. So what we've planned here in the community for Glastonbury is holding a ceremony on the 22nd for the spring, really connecting with the earth, connecting with each other, calling in the new energies, ancestors, sowing the seeds, seeing the templates that will come down for us. And then on the 23rd of March, we have a very beautiful event here in Glastonbury for the full day where you'll be sharing more of your wisdom and taking us on this journey fully through the map of womanhood and fully revisiting each part and understanding, much like what you said, Eartha. Really, we're going to go and revisit these parts and understand the initiations, understand what we go through and how, so that we don't cause any more harm and we don't cause any more damage by our own stuck self that's not being reclaimed. If there's anything else you wish to add, anything that you plan, that you intend, feel free to.
No, love, I think we've covered enough for everyone to really feel what we're offering on the 23rd. And I just feel really, I feel excited to meet the sisters and to, for me, this is Hannah and I's legacy. This is my legacy as I become an elder to give to the world, because we've worked for 10 years with this. But by having our children are adults now, young adults. And it's like, you've got a map so that you don't have to go through the process we went through, which is learning on the job, like it's our legacy to leave behind for the younger sisters. So yeah, really blessed to be able to come to Glastonbury and do that. So thank you. Thanks, Nellie. Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Because it's Avalon, which is unique as the sacred temple. Eartha will be bringing her tempura, and I will bring the holy oils, because we need to create that feeling of the soul within this that's exquisite, really beautiful.
Thank you so much. I'm absolutely excited. Totally looking forward to it. And both of you together, your energies, your unified energies and field is just absolutely gorgeous. And I'm so happy that we're going to be sitting in person together for the day and experiencing deeper the love of ourselves, the fullness of ourselves. I'm so grateful.
Thank you, Nellie. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.